a pimp, a drug user, a drug dealer, was a single mother. Dad, he left early. As the #1 economy at one point did with other countries, we would fight communism.
What the hell is a water buffalo? Water Buffalo TM is back with another Buff Talk.
3, 2, 1. Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Oldschoolmatt here. We are back with another Buff Talk, and today we are joined by the one and only, the legend, Ameer Dangleben. What's up, my brother?
How you doing, brother? Thank you for having me on.
Anytime. It has been a long time coming. Amir and I did a podcast on his platform, so make sure to go check him out. Earlier this past year, 2020, I think.
I believe it's 2020. Yeah.
2020, and we had a blast doing so. But we had to have him come out to the Water Buffalo gym. We did some boxing earlier today with our boy Sebastian, and then we said, you know what, let's just do a podcast, dude. So let's just sit down and let's have a conversation for the ages. Real quick, Amir, let everybody know out there what you do and who you are. This kid's got, not kid, well, I guess kid, but he's younger than me, but he's got such a crazy personality, but in a good way. Really, really down-to-earth dude, but he's got a lot of potential for the future to come.
Well, my name is Ameer Dangleben, and based out of South Florida. I have a real estate company, Dangleben Group, the Dangleben Group, and I have a podcast, Go Dangleben Go. The gist of the podcast is I just talk about just about anything and everything, willing to talk to everybody, and I'm just trying to learn, you know. So that's pretty much it. Pretty simple, and just trying to leave a good legacy on this beautiful blue planet.
Yeah, for sure. So this is like the first time that Amir and I actually got together. We got to hang out and get to know each other a little bit more. We've been talking on social media for a little while. We communicate probably on a daily basis.
Yeah.
We talk and say what's up and see what's going on with everyone else. But the thing that kind of stuck out to me about Amir was that he's very non-traditional from today's society standards. That's what I like. Mm-hmm. That's what I like about like the group and the Water Buffalo, like the squad that we have, I guess, going on, the team of people that we have together, is that we all kind of think differently from society. Yeah. And unfortunately, Amir doesn't live super close to us, so we can't have him over all the time. But I would love to do more content with him, because his mindset about things is it's like something that you wouldn't really imagine. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So if you wouldn't mind, Amir, explaining to the people out there, like, what got you to this point in entrepreneurship, business mentality, like what kind of pushed you to this spot in your life?
Well, I always had the entrepreneur knack to me, from selling candy, selling shoes throughout elementary school and high school. Not very consistent, but you had those little spurts of doing such. But I got truly inspired, and I knew for sure that I wanted to be rich at the age of 12 when I saw my grandfather, an electrician, get handed a bunch of money by somebody who employed him, by the name of, I know his last name's Wayne, but they own a property management company out of Deerfield. I believe it's called East Coast Management. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for shouting them out. But maybe that's good for them. But I remember him pulling up in a nice, I believe it was a Beamer, had a nice white collared shirt, this typical looking like a CFA, but he had his property management company, and he was filling my grandpa's tank up after he paid him, and he handed him a wad of cash for the job he did. And I realized there that I wanted to be rich. And I had exposure throughout my childhood, because my grandpa, he was an electrician, and he would go to other people's houses. So every once in a while you would go to nice houses, and you just, those little spurts of inspiration. But I wouldn't say I grew up poor. I grew up very blessed and privileged, never missed a meal. But I would say I was probably in the early phase, middle class, and then as I got older, lower middle class. But I realized I wanted to be rich at 12, and I found an industry that I was truly passionate about, and that I truly knew that this was for me. When I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrants at the age of 16 and high school, because I was on academic probation, and I realized that in order to grow my mind and be better, I said I need to read, I need to get in religion. I need to read a book every week, read every day. So that right there, when I was at my lowest academically, is when something snapped within me. With the help of a friend, of course, who was also on academic probation, we'll put our minds together and say, hey, we're going to go to the library every day. We're going to read every day. We're going to study every day. And the reading from that book and many others has inspired me to say, this is the industry for me. And I know that this allows me to escape my environment. Mm-hmm. The reading, I didn't even know what real estate was. I didn't know you could make a bunch of money off of cash flow because of buildings and monthly income. So that really was what did it for me.
Interesting. I was going to ask you a question. So I know you do read a lot of books, mm-hmm. and you going back to high school when you first started reading with your buddy because you guys were on academic probation. Mm-hmm. What was the first book you read? You remember?
I don't quite remember, but I know the book that did it for me, and that was that. I would say it started with history, like autobiography of Malcolm X. Other things, I remember reading a stock book, and then when I read that, Rich Dad Poor Dad Cash Flow Quadrants, that flipped the script. Shout out to Robert Kiyosaki. I always wanted to say this, that I owe you a vacation one of these days. Hopefully, when I'm successful, and I wish you much health. But you made a lot of millionaires, Robert. You did. You truly did make a lot of millionaires.
I had that book. I don't know. Oh, no, I have Think Rich, Grow Rich. I've heard a lot of good things about that book.
Yeah.
Should I definitely read it?
Yeah.
What is it about?
Basically, he breaks down the 4 quadrants of an employee, a small business owner, a investor, and I believe a big business owner. I think that's the 4. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's either I believe that's what it is. And then he just talks about his experience with his rich dad and the experience of what real estate did for him about cash flow and monthly income. And he really just flipped the script and opened your mind to a different reality. One thing I appreciate about books is that, I don't think books will make you rich, but I believe it will open your mind and get you out of your environment, allow you to escape your environment. Because, a lot of people are enclosed to their environment and are trapped to what they see. But I believe books allow you to see more than what's around you. Definitely. And that's the beauty, because, you want to learn.
I enjoy books a lot too. Sometimes I'll get onto. I was on a schedule. I still am on this schedule. I just don't do it in the morning anymore. I used to have a night book and a morning book where I'd read a book before I went to bed, mm-hmm. and I'd read a book when I wake up. Not a whole book, but I'd read like 5 pages or whatever whatever book I was reading. Now I only do it before I go to bed. But reading relaxes me a lot. I don't know if that's
mm-hmm.
if it does it for you, but it's something that I picked up, just a different type of benefit from reading, not only with the information you're getting from the actual book itself, but like just reading is peaceful. It's different from social media. Yeah. You're not distracted by anything other than the information you're getting. When you're watching a YouTube video or an Instagram video, you have the tendency to scroll to the comments or mm-hmm. Go to the next post. This in Instagram or whatever, any social media is good for information. There's a ton of information on the internet, but there's so many more like distractions. With the book, it's just the book. That's mm-hmm. all you get. You could go to the next page, you can go to the page before, but the information is right there, and that's all you get with YouTube and other stuff like that. You can mm-hmm. be on one video 1 second, and the next video you're watching something about fucking kid jumps into a pool. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what I like about books a lot, because you get the information. That's all you're getting. If you have the self-discipline to put your phone away and stuff like that. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, going into like later life. Well, you were still young. You're 21 years old. I'm 22.
Yeah.
We were talking about it earlier, and you were talking about your story about potentially becoming a minister.
Yeah.
That was something you wanted to touch on in this podcast. I also wanted to touch on it too, because I think it's pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. I don't think anyone that is watching this that knows you knows that about you.
Yeah. So as I explained, the academic probation thing, that not only was it the reading books and going to the library, but I believe at the time I was like, what do I know that is good and that's going to help me focus, and it was religion. I grew up part of a denomination called the Church of Christ, and I was a casual churchgoer, but I knew one thing, that I was taught that when you were at your lowest, that you would go to God. Mm-hmm. that especially from my grandmother, who was the foundation of religion throughout my family. So I said, I'm gonna start going back to church, and I did that at 16, and as I told Matt, it started from the back of the pew to the lower middle side of the pew to the upper middle to in front of the preacher, and I was very serious about my faith. I read the Bible twice, back to cover, front to back, excuse me, and I realized, I'm very faithful. I'm already an outgoing personality. I already like teaching people. This is just a part of me. Why not, teach something that you already believe in, Yeah. So I said, I started my journey of saying, I want to be a minister. And it was a beautiful journey. I learned a lot. I would teach Bible class. I would teach men's class, teach the kids. I preached once in front of the church. And it was a great experience. I'm thankful because religion kept me focused. It kept me celibate. Not only celibate sexually with another human being, but I did not masturbate throughout all high school. And people might be astonished, but I did not. I for some reason I looked at it with much disgust, like disgusting and like a And when I tell you, religion's so powerful, that it can push you to have a certain point of view, that I looked at it with disgust.
I think about it the same way now, even without religion, just on a regular basis. And like the people are going to have different opinions on this, whoever's watching this podcast. But that's a good point that you hit on. Religion is like a tool, like anything else.
Exactly.
It could push you in the right direction. Hopefully religion never pushes you in the wrong direction. I'm sure there's cases where it does. Yeah. But that was a really, really powerful thing you said. It pushed you in the right direction, because everything that has to do with Christianity, I'm Catholic, you're Christian, we have the same morals and principles. All the principles that Christians, Catholics, and I'm not sure about other religions, but the ones that we have for our religion are morals and principles that I want to live my life by, regardless if I believe in God or not. I want to be a good person. I want to be faithful to the person I'm married to. I want to be good to the people around me. I don't want to, kill anybody or steal. I don't want to hurt anybody. Right. It's the foundation to being a good person. And if you can take that for what it is, or, some people get, grossed away by it and then they go and do other things. But I think it's a really important aspect of everybody's life. And like you were saying, we were talking about it too. You're not too into it anymore, but the good,
I'm thankful.
Yeah, and the good values and morals, I'm still stick with you.
I'm thankful.
Yeah.
I would not change one thing. You lost a lot throughout high school. I'm pretty sure a lot of young men got to have fun throughout high school, but I was very focused because I realized that if I'm gonna be a representative of Christ and let people know that, this is what I want to do, I'm gonna be a preacher. Like people knew me as the kid who wanted to be a preacher in the Catholic school. I told my teachers too, I wanted to be a preacher. They knew me as a financial guy, but they knew me as the guy who carried his Bible every day. So I knew I had to be a representative of Christ. So I couldn't conduct myself. I didn't talk to females in school. Girls would come up to me, and I just pushed them away because my thing was like, I need to talk to a girl that's in my faith. I was a big proponent of, a girl that's in my faith. Yeah. So
you think that's big even now?
What?
You're like talking to a girl that's within your faith?
As of right now, right now, I'm not, all the way into any faith right now. I would say I'm more, because I don't deny God. I think that's very egotistical of a human being to say there's no God, like we're all knowing. But I would say that I'm more on the secular side of things. But I would never disrespect Christianity for what it did for me. I tell you, I probably would have been dead, or, still would have had a hood mentality, which is very toxic, and I probably would have had somebody pregnant. So I'm thankful for that. But as far as a girl, I would, if a girl comes from Judeo-Christian values, I appreciate that, and I'll let her practice that. I think that's good. I just think when you get consumed in it and saying it's this way or not, you kind of
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, something I wanted to touch on too. We might have differing opinions on this, but you were talking about taking every person for who they are at the moment. I know that now me and you, we have similar mindsets on how relationships are going to impact our performance. Yeah. And even though I have a girlfriend at the moment and I plan to stay with her as long as the relationship is going to last, I do think that is sometimes can be a dream killer, depending on how you let it consume yourself. Yeah. So when coming when it comes to time that you're ready to invest yourself in a female, what do you look for? Like, what do you think you're gonna look for? Because you told me that, or we were talking about in the garage when we were working out, like you were saying you don't judge people on people's past, just who they are now. Mm-hmm. Would you have that same principle to a girl that you're looking to maybe be with in the future, or how would you see it?
I wouldn't say I don't judge people's past. I would say that I'm not going to count you out, that you can maybe do something good. You know, one of the most inspirational guys that I value within my, that, you know, I grew up looking to was Malcolm X. He wasn't always Malcolm X. Before he was Detroit Red, you know, a pimp, a drug user, a drug dealer, a massive fornicator, and it took trials and tribulations and jail for him to, you know, evolve and become somebody who was very impactful in my community. But as far as a woman, and as far as what I look for, would I judge her on her past? I think the past we take into account, as you would judge me on my past, I believe. But the way I view it, I would get a woman that, like I said, I don't plan to settle down anytime soon, but I'm thinking as an older man where I'm more mature and more established, I would look for a woman that I believe women, their value is within their youth. So maybe someone in their 20s, someone with a father, a mother.
You think that's important, having a father and mother?
Yes, because I knew if I didn't grow up with a dad. Well, my biological father, I had a stepfather, but he was more of a provider. Mm-hmm. He wasn't really. I didn't have the father figure, but I had my grandpa, and that was a male role model. But as far as a woman, I think a father, a healthy relationship with her father, so she has a good outlook on men.
So you think that women that don't have a healthy relationship with a father are doomed?
I wouldn't say that, but they maybe need a lot of therapy.
You think it's more like you're going against the odds at that point?
Yeah,
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree with you. I think that it's a really important thing. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people look into that. Obviously, me and you have similar views on that aspect of things in our society. Is that these family ties and family values play a huge role in development. And I think the same thing for females. I think for males as well. You know, when males don't have a good family structure, they don't especially when I've seen when males don't have sisters, I find that males that don't have sisters treat women with more disrespect because they're unable to understand
empathy.
For a female.
Yeah.
Do you have a sister?
Yeah, I have a sister. Yeah.
So younger or older?
Younger. Yeah. Okay. Very protective.
Over her.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not super protective over my sister. Thank God, she's always been great and never really caused much problems for my family in that aspect. But I feel like she's a big reason for why I treat girls with a lot of respect, is because I have her and I have my mother, and I try to emulate the same type of love that I would give for them, sort of like to the female or the female friend that I'm with at the moment.
I wouldn't say I was very protective over like this is my sister, but I say I was very protective of her mind. In a sense that I gave her the book. I let her know that guys, that, you know, most of the time they want one thing, and you got to be very strategic on how you conduct yourself and the outlook. And, you know,
does she follow it?
I would say, you know, I'm not really that close to my sister. Like, I love her. I check up on her every once in a while. But I think I gave her a blueprint that's foundational. She's more to herself, you know.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I think she's just trying to figure it out. You know, she's very different. She, you know, into anime and to herself.
Gotcha.
So I just let her be. She's gonna. I don't know what she may be, but I just know that hopefully I try my best to set a good example as a male figure. And I gave her the game. That, you know, what else can you
do? Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think that though there are factors that also go into play, like desire, I think the personal will is the most important thing in life. But if you have like everything crumbling around you, it's harder to have that personal drive sometimes for people. I've known people that have had terrible home lives, terrible situations, been poor on the streets, and they're the most driven people I've ever seen in my whole life. Yeah, we both know famous people that are like that too, that they had, you know, grew up in the worst of the worst. But I think on a mass scale, I think that those factors impact people a lot more than what we think. And when looking at for a partner or somebody in the future, we need to take those things into account, especially if they're showing signs like for example, females, if they're showing signs of disrespect towards males, not being faithful, and just having like a lifestyle that is due to not having a male father figure in their life or a brother or whatever, those are things that we as men need to take into account the same way as women when they're looking for men. If they're showing those signs early, more than likely this person will never change and they'll never have the desire to be the person you want them to be. I find it really important for entrepreneurs and people that want to be the most successful they can to take time into who you're trying to get yourself involved with, because it could be, it could be the end of the end of the day, it can make or break you, especially us men with, alimony and all that crap.
I'm very attracted to feminine. Is it femininity? Feminine women.
Not feminism.
Yeah, not feminism, but feminine women. I grew up around, I would say, women with masculine traits. My mother, she had to be that because my no disrespect to him, and I thank you for all you did. But my sister's father, he wasn't really like a leader. He was more of a provider, and she led the house. And it was kind of the same with my grandmother. My grandpa did as he said, but he kind of did his own thing. But she kind of like, he gave her the money and she did whatever she wanted.
Now, do you agree with that? Do you agree with the way that your family was brought up like that, or would you rather have something different?
My mother was a single mother. My dad, he left early, so she had to kind of like...
Yeah, of course.
At 3, that's when my sister's dad came in my life, and I guess she kind of took that role of masculinity. Now I'm kind of seeing her step into her feminine behavior, and it's kind of weird because I'm like, I didn't really look at her as a woman. Yeah. I looked at her as both, like...
Yeah, dad and mom.
Like, I was like, oh, you got you have... it's kind of weird to me now that I like kind of just seeing what she used to be, because I guess she had to be, because he wasn't really, so that's why I'm like, for the woman that I decide to have kids with, settle down with, who's going to take some of my money, I want that behavior. I want her, you don't have to work if you don't want to. I want you to be a caregiver to the kids, and conduct yourself in a way, be respectful, conservative, not out there. I hope she don't even have an Instagram, social media. I'm looking for that type, That's kind of rare, but
yeah, I don't think you're going to find that. No, I'm just kidding.
Or it's private and she's not really posting like that.
No, I agree. I think that a woman like that is what we want. And it's might be a little hypocritical for me and you, because we do post a lot on social media, but I don't know about you. I use social media as a tool to promote the brand, promote what I feel like is going to help people. But a lot of the times I'll catch myself not really on social media too much, only for, good stuff. I don't really fall into the exploring type of person that goes and gets in people's businesses. I don't think that it does much for me. I know I'm sure you're the same way, that we like to spend our time doing different things. But.
I look, but I don't get consumed. I honestly, I'm supposed to be more serious, but I was very anti-social media before. I was very anti-social media before all this. I used to I used to delete it a lot. I probably deleted it like 8 times throughout first getting it, because I didn't like putting my business out there and letting people see me evolve. Because I said I'm gonna get real serious and it's do or die. I'm going all in with this business. This is when this is the longest I've had a social media account. I used to just delete it because I didn't like people seeing me evolve. I didn't like people seeing me, putting myself out there. But I changed myself. Like,
it's the name. It's just, unfortunately, it's just the name of the game. I don't really like social media too much either. The only thing I really enjoy about social media is that I'm able to learn new things that I wouldn't have been able to learn before. Yeah. But it's just not unfortunately, because there's good stuff that come out. If it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't know you. So that we wouldn't be having this conversation. So there's plenty of great things that come out of social media. But it's just the name of the game. We have to evolve. Yeah. That's the way business works. So
evolution.
Yeah.
You got to balance it.
I think that if in a perfect world, social media would be all positive, informative stuff, where we can get on there and not have to worry about, fighting with each other and all this nonsense with seeing, this and that. But we don't live in a perfect world, I'm sure. Yeah, that's a podcast we can get into, because we are getting into it in the garage about some different things. I definitely in the future want to get on a podcast about some like deeper level stuff, because we were talking about some conspiracy type of stuff in the garage. But I wanted to also ask you, so Ameer in high school, done with the pastor ministry stuff. Mm-hmm. What made the switch?
Well, after I graduated high school, first of all, my senior year, I was kind of walking on, you know, like it was kind of like my religion was being pulled thread by thread as far as I opened my mind to the world. And I was kind of holding on to my faith by what if there is a God, then, you know, I go to heaven. But if there's not, then I had nothing to lose. That's what I was holding on. So when I moved to Washington, D.C. with my mother and my sister's father and my sister, as they were looking for a house in Maryland, I kind of started observing, you know, Washington, D.C. and the people that are going to be future world players. You know, you drive around and you see all these people in suit and ties. That's what you see in Washington, D.C., all these future people who think they're going to change the world. And I'm like, these are the people who are going to be making the moves, deciding whether I even have a religion or not, or if I can even practice it. They're not worried about what's going on in here. So I was like, at first I kind of realized that maybe this preaching stuff's not for me. Maybe I'll just be a faithful member, like just a regular old Christian. So I decided then, before I went off to college, I went to Arkansas State for 6 weeks. That did a little walk up there. But I realized, you know, I don't want to be a preacher no more, you know. And then when I went to A-State, I really took a deep dive and realized that what makes me so special? I started really taking a step back from my religion and was like, you know, I got blessed to be born in America. I got blessed to be in my neighborhood. And I luckily had a grandma who was religious, and I kind of stumbled by this because of birth. But there's another kid in China or the Middle East or Africa who was exposed to another religion. So I was like, there's nothing really too special about me. And that's what I got from religion, an ego, a big ego. Ego in the sense that religion told me to say, oh, okay, I'm going to heaven, everyone else is going to hell. That's what I got from religion. So I kind of realized that there's nothing really special about me. So that's I took a step back from it, and, you know, I was like, you know, it is what it is. But I'm truly, truly so thankful. Like, I don't even know how much I'm so thankful. Like, I might even if I make some money in the future, I might even just donate to that church out of respect for the opportunity they give me. Yeah,
definitely. What was when you quit the job? Because for those of you guys who don't know out there, Ameer actually worked with Chris Trevino, the guy you see on the WTF Workout Wednesday videos. So when you quit that job, was that when you started the whole real estate contract stuff that you were telling me about?
No, I was actually doing it during that job too. I was doing my marketing was cold calling, and it was miserable. You know, I had a mentor, pay him a wad of cash, plus, you know, luckily I quit the mentor. I had to pay him monthly before this whole coronavirus stuff, but it was just miserable. You know, calling people telling you, "Get the fuck, stop calling me, fuck you," all this shit.
Damn.
And I quit it because
who'd you cold call? Just random
people. I had a list, distress list, code violation.
What's the craziest phone call you've had on there? Like anyone ever, like you ever call someone twice and they freak out on you?
Yeah, fuck you, suck your mother, you know, types of crazy
all
shit.
That type of stuff.
Fuck you, no, fuck you. Just guys doing crazy.
Yeah.
That, like, they wouldn't say that about face.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so continue. Sorry, I cut you off.
So it was miserable. And the fact that I was paying this guy all this money, spending more money on him than in my actual business and marketing, I was realizing and it wasn't really a scam. It was just like he was there to keep you for life as a mentee. And he gave you the knowledge. Like, I still have the knowledge and all that. But you kind of realize that the business side of it, it's not get rich. This is grind. The business is grind. This is years and years, 10, 15 years before you're making real money.
I say the same thing all the time. It depends on whatever your time is. You know, you get your time. Some people get it with one viral video and now they're a millionaire. Some people 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And if you're not willing to stick that out, then first of all, you're not a player. You're not a true player of the game. And second of all, you can't complain if it doesn't work out. You know,
yeah.
If you do it for 20 years, you're gonna have something at those 20 years, unless you've been bullshitting the whole time, not doing anything. But if you're really working hard and you're giving it anywhere from 20 to 60 hours a week for 5 years, you're going to be somewhere in those 5 years.
Yeah. It's the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
Not knowing, you know.
Yeah. And the fear of being in a position where for the first 2 or 3 years you're being embarrassed and you're being, you know, you're not making as much money as everyone else because you're putting your money into this and everyone else is going on trips and vacations and you're sitting at home on the computer on YouTube trying to figure something out. You know what I mean?
Very lonely.
Yeah, lonely
very
for
lonely.
sure. And time consuming. It takes up a lot of your time.
Yeah.
But like we were talking about in the garage too, like I enjoy it. Like sometimes I do it just because I enjoy it too. Like I genuinely have fallen in love with creating videos and content that I can make. That I'm like, what's the next challenge? What's the next cool thing we could do? Not even obviously for the business and to make money. At the end of the day, I have to put something on the table for all the hard work I'm doing. But for right now, and hopefully for the rest of my life, I'll continue to love everything we do. And I know you love everything you do.
Yeah.
And that's really the key to making something like this happen is that you fall in love with the process, and then the end goal is just, you know, it's just like a ticket to like enter the show.
Yeah.
You know,
I like seeing the growth too. Like, oh, I just learned this, something new. I got more stuff to learn, and just you know, grinding and going after it. And I like being the underdog, kind of. You know, it's kind of fuels me. You know, I create imaginary enemies for myself. Like, oh, this motherfucker's down me. Yeah, I'm about to show you. I'm gonna be even more consistent because you're doubting me. I love it. Yeah. I like to create little enemies, even though I don't really get that much people saying, "Oh, you're gonna be a failure." I don't really get that, but I like to create it myself so I can.
There's a book about, I forget who says that.
Yeah.
Did Patrick Bet-David say that in his book?
I don't know.
Maybe not.
I just know that's what I do. Oh,
someone talked about that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I you know, it's the name of the game. I'm sure there's people that hate on you. There's people that hate
probably
on me.
Behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna say them because they probably think I'm crazy the way I present myself.
Definitely. But at the end of the day, like what I say to anyone else who feels like they're scared because they're gonna get judged or whatever, like who cares? Your life is so short. You know, if you really enjoy doing what you're doing, put stuff out there, learn things, teach people, connect with people. That's another big thing that you do. He does a really good job about networking and getting people's information, because like you said, you just need to know one person or have that one good thing happen. If you have that one good connection, you never know where you'll be. And honestly, I'm blessed with my business and with my life because I've made connections that have put me in a position to where I can do certain things without feeling like I am running out of money.
That's the biggest thing I learned about business is it's really not about the skill or knowing, but who you know. The right people can put you in the right positions and give you the opportunity, or just give you the right idea,
or information, to
get you started. And that's the most valuable thing. I kind of like, you know, like the skill will come if you can be consistent, but being like in the right position, you know, people you know can really help you with that. And give you that
1,000%.
Yeah,
you don't understand how many times, and I that's why I try to give it back to people too. Like I said, at the end of the day, I do have to make money with Water Buffalo, and certain things do cost money. But if a kid 16, 17 years old is going to ask me through the DMs, like, hey, bro, could you help me out with this about working out or this and that? Like, I'll shoot them a message. I'll talk to them all day long because, in my opinion, if you're so sheltered and so introverted, you're going to lose out. Like, I feel like I have a weird theory about how the world works in terms of energy, but I feel like, you know, if someone gives me a tip that saves me months or days or even hours, I need to give back and give someone that same tip. I've given kids tips that have took me 5 years to realize. Nowadays it's not just fitness stuff. I had a couple kids because of a TikTok video message me on Instagram about bench pressing, and I got into conversations with them through the DMs about just like life in general. Like, dude, stay away from the partying, stay away from the drugs, stay away from it's fun in the moment, but you're just going to be wasting money. If you're really passionate about something, do that at your age. If you do it at 15, 16, like let's just say you're really passionate about carpentry or fucking, I don't know, graffiti art or something. Yeah. If you start at 15, by my age, by 22, you'll have 7 years. You'll be huge. You'll probably be famous on the internet. Like, you'll be famous and you'll be making money from what you love to do. Start early and like just things like this. Like, information that unfortunately when like my parents did a great job raising me obviously, but in terms of entrepreneurship they both have jobs, so they're not like the most savvy in terms of like creativity and you know, my parents always wanted me to go to college and enjoy myself. They would have loved for me to become an accountant and, you know, take the degree and go work at a firm. They would be very happy with that, and I'm thankful for them for providing for me always when as a child. But if I would have had someone tell me at the age of 15, 16, hey dude, you're gonna go to college, you're gonna have this experience for as long as, you know, this, stay away from the chicks, find a good girl. If not, don't worry about girls. Don't, you know, the bars aren't gonna make you any money. Go get a full-time job. You can do it. You can get a full-time job and go to school. It's easy. School's easy the first 2 years. So get a full-time job, save up money, and keep putting stuff out there on the internet. Keep learning, keep growing. I would be 3 or 4 years ahead of where I'm at now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like that little conversation I never had. Unfortunately, I never had with anybody. I was always told go to college, get a degree, and then get a job after, which is great. You know, it's fine. You could be making 6 figures up to, you could be making up to 7 figures doing that. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's about the money for me, but it's not always about the money. It's about the legacy, and it's about what I want to do when I get older, and I want to be sustained throughout the rest of my life. So just little things like this, by putting that energy back in the world, I feel like, one, it'll bless you, and two, like, I want to see people do well too, you know what I mean? Like you were telling me in the garage, you have some questions about the camera stuff and the videos and stuff like that. Like, bro, I would love to help you, because I don't want you sitting on YouTube for 4 hours like me, learning something that could take you 3 seconds if someone knew how to, you know what I mean? Yeah. So,
that's it right there, bro.
Yeah.
As far as the entrepreneur side of it, and, you know, sometimes you can't fault people. I understand why people wouldn't want to be entrepreneurs. It's not fun.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, it's fun, but it's not fun.
They glorify it, make it seem, but it's grind, being lonely. I think that's one of the biggest things, being lonely and being misunderstood, you know. One thing I really got into was really learn how to build my self-esteem, because I told you I had the whole social media. I had the fear of evolving in front of people and exposing myself like that. Like in person, I'm like extra. I don't care, but on the line where it's for everybody, it's kind of weird. That's why I probably deleted social media 8 times throughout my use of it since middle school, but I got into building my confidence and building my self-esteem and my ego, which I lacked, because I said, you have to, bro. You're about to be in people, and you don't want to be, when they get hard and get tough and you start getting the smoke coming your way, that you say, man, I'm done with this. So I had a problem with doing that in high school, that I would be jumping from one thing to another. And I learned to build my ego, and now I realized that I got to a point where it was too much. So I'm learning now how to balance.
Definitely.
But yeah, man, you got to build your ego, supreme confidence. That's very important. And I'm a very extreme type of guy. I always been extreme. I say, hey, a lot of people die being unhappy and not doing what they want. I'm going to die at least trying, you know? So definitely. I always take it to death whenever I feel like, man, at the end of the day, we all going to die. I'm going to die doing what I want.
That's what I tell people too sometimes. I mean, either you're going to get to where you want to be, or you're going to die. So, you know what I mean? Like,
that's pretty much it.
You're either going to work. That's why you don't have to worry about it. Just keep working as hard as you can, and one day you will get there, or one day you'll die. So either you die and you don't get there, and you won't have to worry about it because you'll be dead, or you'll be where you want to be. But what are the future plans for Ameer coming up in the next coming years?
Well,
real quick, I'm gonna ask you a quick question. Do you feel like the years between 20 and 24 are the most crucial for you right now?
Yeah, I think these are the years crucial for damn near everybody in our age group, or someone.
Unfortunately, the kids our age, or I don't want to say kids, young adults our age, they don't see this years as crucial. I feel like right now is the most crucial time in my life, 22 to 25, 26, because after that, the dream is still there, but if you haven't had any success with it, it's hard to start at 27, 28, 29. Not saying it's impossible. Look at Gary Vee. He did his stuff later in life, but it's, social media and the world's so fast nowadays, you got to start early. It's got to be now. You know what I mean? And that's something I like about your page too, and about what you do is, bro, you're as consistent as I try to be, you're as consistent too. Like some people are so afraid to put stuff out there. We just put stuff out there because we know we got, this is done, move on to the next thing.
Yeah, I forget about, like, I don't even check out my old stuff. I just forget about it. I'm always trying to look, even though wouldn't say it's quality, but this year I told myself, like, bro, it's not going to be quality. You don't even know what the hell you're doing. It's for no one knows. So it's going to be consistent. That's where you're going to crack them. They're constantly going to be seeing your face and realize Ameer's serious about this. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. And as far as these being the most crucial years of your life, I tell myself, watch your habits. Watch your habits. Right now, a lot of people are acquiring bad habits, whether it's through college, through depression, whatever they're dealing with life. They're acquiring bad habits, and the pizza's almost done cooking. Once you get to 30, you're kind of molded into what you're going to be. So you got to watch your habits, whether it's sexually, what you eat, how you treat your body, how you think, your mindset. Because it's hard to, like I said, people get stuck in these, ways of thinking. And you got to be very flexible, because if you all it takes is one habit to bring you down. My grandfather, he had a lotto ticket habit. He had some other external habits, but those lotto tickets, they pile up. You're buying $5 worth of lotto tickets a week over 30 years. You do the math on that, that's a lot of money. You could have bought a house.
Yeah,
you could have
definitely
invested in whatever you want. So you be very strategic and I would say, be like dough. Don't flatten the pizza just yet. Be like dough. Be able to be molded, because try things, but don't get stuck on one thing, because it might be the bad habit. You got to be very strategic.
I'm sure everyone watching this video, and people out there that hopefully get to this video one day, what are good and bad habits. We all know. Yeah. Smoking marijuana, most of the time, is not a good habit. No. I'm just going to be honest and blunt with you guys. I know people out there, some of my best friends smoke a lot of marijuana. Yeah. And they say it helps me, and it's a bad habit. Yeah. You're making time for it because you enjoy the feeling of it, but in reality, it's a bad habit. The reason why people like Joe Rogan and Nate Diaz can do it is because they have millions of dollars in the bank account, and it doesn't matter what they do. Yeah. They have a whole team working behind them. Yeah. But if you're an entrepreneur, you're somebody who's trying to do something with their life, any sort of drug, alcohol, even smoking, at some point, and this is me being critical of myself, even like caffeine. Even caffeine, even drinking too much coffee, being reliant on coffee is a bad habit. We know they're bad habits, and we continue to do them because it's the easy thing to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? Humans gravitate towards the easy thing. Like 90% of the time, we always want to do what's easy. It's easy to wake up in the morning and sit and scroll for 30 minutes on social media to see, whatever is going on. It's hard to get up in the morning and, like I was doing earlier, stretch or read a book or go work out, or do fasted cardio, or make your meals for the day. It's not easy, Yeah. And I'm not a perfect person. Obviously, not every day I wake up is the most productive day. There's times where I waste time, but it's about cutting the fat as much as you can. Yeah. You're not going to have 100% productivity throughout the day, unless you're like on Adderall all day long.
And one great advice I would say is be open and contain your ego, watch your habits, and ask people for help. Like I would say, hey, Ameer, ask your friends what they see you're doing wrong. Like what are you doing wrong? What can I change? How can I be better? And
I try to ask that a lot.
Write that down. That down. It takes humility, because everybody wants to believe they're doing it right, but a lot of people don't even know which way they're going. So
I 100% agree. Before we close out the podcast, Ameer, I want to get your opinion on the current state of the country and where you think we're going with this. But everyone out there watching, don't worry, we're going to have Ameer back really soon, because we could probably talk for 3 hours straight. Oh, yeah, we probably could. We're going to do another podcast, hopefully with Chris, because I know that, I don't know, how many times did you guys work together when you guys went away? A lot? Or
Yeah, probably.
He told me he's got some crazy stories from those times, so maybe you can be his...
I wouldn't want to put the company on blast, since that's kind of like my dad.
Okay. Well, not. He told me crazy stories with, like, in the cities that he went to, not the company specifically. But no, just real quick, because I wanted to ask you this question before we close it out. What is your current thoughts about the state of the world right now?
Well, with all things, you kind of understand that. I can't really quote the quote, but I believe it's hard times create strong man. Strong men create good times. And good times create weak men. And right now we're in a good time phase. And you kind of study sometimes your ego, you forget that we ourselves, the United States, is just another kingdom throughout a period throughout the world. Greece, Rome, come on. And throughout those kingdoms, they get good times. But those good times don't last forever, and they end up self-destructing because of luxury. And right now, you got to be real and be honest. And it's scary to say this, but this kingdom won't last forever itself. Something new will come. But it's our job as people within the kingdom now to preserve it so our children and our grandchildren can at least enjoy the fruits of this kingdom.
You're talking about the USA?
The USA, correct.
You think it's going to collapse one day?
Of course. That's throughout all history. You know, we're only man.
That's true. You think collapse is coming sometime soon, or you think?
Maybe.
By collapse, you mean like a civil war and like we divide, or?
Civil war, it can be anything. It could be invaded from another country. China's going to be probably is right now the number one economy.
100%.
And with money, which a lot of people don't realize, is always follow the money. The people with the money have the power and the control and the influence and decide how you think and how you operate. And them being the number one economy and them having their pockets within the U.S. and within our politicians will dictate how our politicians and how we move and how we think as a country. You know, the same way we, as the number one economy at one point, did with other countries. We would fight communism. We would, do other things. So think about that. But I don't know if it's going to be within our generation. I hope not, because I want to enjoy the U.S. and the principles it was built on within the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. So I don't know. I can't say.
Gotcha. Yeah, I love our country. I mean, it's not a secret. Unfortunately, nowadays saying that sometimes can get you in trouble if you say you love this country.
Yeah, I love America.
Yeah, I think it's a great.
It's not perfect like any other country, but you know.
I mean, honestly, I think we have it better than anybody else.
Oh, well, indeed.
But definitely not. Obviously not perfect.
Yeah.
We got a lot of problems.
But what other nation has been perfect?
Yeah, and what other nation can you basically come from nothing? Mm-hmm. And honestly, when people hate on the USA, and then we go look at the immigration, how many people want to immigrate here? Why do people want to move here? It's so bad. You know what I mean? Someone put that in perspective to me the other day. They're like, if the USA is so bad, so terrible, so racist, so prejudiced, all this, why is there 20 million people trying to come here every year?
But you take things for granted when you get them easy. You know, it's easy to say this and that, but because a lot, roughly over 50% of the U.S. Citizens have not been outside of this country. That's a large percentage.
Yeah, because they don't know. Have you been out of the country?
No, I haven't. Hopefully one day, but I believe my mind has.
Yeah.
Most indeed, through books and studying.
I mean, if you just go on like YouTube and type in, like I've been to Vietnam, I've been to Peru. Huh. Like, I mean, nowadays some of the parts of the USA are starting to look like those areas, but it's there's trash on the ground. There's you pay police officers to let you go after getting pulled over. There's naked people running around. There's gangsters, and you can't walk. Like I can walk. I don't know about you. We live in a pretty decent area. South Florida's a nice area. Yeah. I feel like this might be ignorant for saying this, but I feel like I could walk around even the worst parts of South Florida at night and be fine. I know that might sound ignorant to some people. Some people, you're an idiot, but in another country, I don't know. I don't know if I'd even want to walk downtown in a city by myself at night because I don't know what's going to happen over there. You know what I mean? At least over here, I have trust in people, communicating. In some countries, people are animals.
Indeed.
They'll kill you for your phone.
Yeah, you forget that. You forget that with the lack of resources, that there's a more primal, instinct when it comes to people who have less.
Exactly.
Indeed.
And I'm not saying that's not true in the USA. I'm sure that there's crazy people here.
I would say
too.
it's very minority.
Yeah, but in other countries, like you walk around, there's YouTube videos all over the place. People getting robbed, people getting gunpoint and stuff like that, and then we have the audacity to come at this country for such a amazing, incredible, coming from someone who's your father was from Jamaica, my parents were from Vietnam and Peru, and us being able to live and even sit here and have a podcast together with these expensive microphones and all this computer stuff is because we live in this country. If I lived in Peru or Vietnam, I'd probably be working at a factory right now, or I'd be in the fields.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't mind the judging. I like to hear both sides, but I believe with judging, then you can talk about the good too. We don't have to just promote bad. Like
definitely.
I say balance it. I don't believe in utopia, but I believe you can always strive to get better.
Definitely. I don't think that it's necessarily like perfect. I don't think that the country is perfect. I think that there's a lot of corrupt people in all aspects. Police officers, politicians, you name it. Doctors. No one wants to talk about that. What about the doctors that are, I know there's a lot of doctors that save lives and all this stuff, but now we're getting the exposure to doctors being more, and unfortunately this is our current society, doctors being more interested in what's going to go viral on social media than what's actually with the science. Yeah. Because now we're starting, I'm no doctor. And honestly, after a conversation I had with someone the other day, I think that later in life, God willingly and God blessing me, I think that at some point in my life, I'm going to try and go back to med school. I'm going to try to go back to school for a year and then go through the whole med school. I don't know. I could be 59 years old. I could be in my 60s. But I just want to prove to people that the title of being a doctor, not saying that it's one of the most difficult things that anyone can do. Yeah. Probably in school, the most difficult thing anyone can do. But being a doctor does not correlate with being intelligent. Yeah. I see a lot of, and I'm not the only person. There's plenty of doctors that say this too. So I don't want to act like I'm a doctor hater out there. But there's plenty of doctors that you ask them about physical fitness or, diet, for example, and they couldn't even tell you the difference between a carbohydrate and a protein.
There's a lot of fat doctors.
That's exactly. And it's unfortunately it's not like being overweight is like a bad thing, right? Like you don't have to be Mr. Abs to be healthy, but there's a lot of doctors out there that have bad habits. And we don't see it obviously, but there's a lot of them out there, and especially the people that are trying to go viral on social media with like TikTok doctors and stuff like that, advocating for whatever political agenda that they want to be a part of. It's scary because now we're getting into the side of medicine and things that we're supposed to be objective about, and now we're not being. Yeah. The one quick example is just the whole argument between transgender and non-transgender children and taking hormones as a 12-year-old. Let me see that real quick, just so it doesn't go off again. No, the buffalo. I bought this thing in China, so the voice is in Chinese. When it goes low,
battery, please charge. Power off.
It goes off. No, but it's like crazy, like things like that, where doctors are starting to say that it's okay to start giving children hormones now. No, it's not. Physiologically, and in any sort of physiology textbook you read, biochemistry, in the body can't react to these hormones the way that they say that they can. It's impossible. It's literally impossible. And we have doctors advocating now for 11-year-olds to get their genitals cut off and be put on hormones so they can become a female. I don't have a problem if you're 18 years old, but you're in the stages of development. It's probably the scariest thing that you can do, especially when we're talking about females to males. Because let's look at the only other population that's in the USA that takes exogenous hormones, and those are female bodybuilders. Female bodybuilders die very early, and it's all due to one reason: heart disease. And that comes from the abuse of testosterone and other androgens in the body. And we're going to be giving it to 11 and 12-year-old female girls. I don't want to say think, because I don't want to be, that, or whatever, they believe that they're a male. And now we're having doctors advocating for this, saying that it's healthy. I don't believe it, and I don't think that it's responsible for science to allow this to happen, because scientifically we know that's not true.
Yeah.
You can talk about the mental aspect of anything, but scientifically, physiologically, with the hormones in your body, that is not true.
Yeah.
You put testosterone into a 12-year-old girl, any textbook, it's literally written down. We're going against science now for political agenda and for viralism is what I like to call it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
When you study history, transgenderism, even in the Bible, homosexuality, it's nothing new.
Of course.
Honestly, I'm maybe this may be an unpopular stance, but when you study, like, you look at humans and, you know, the animal kingdom and society and biology, you see the trend and the consistency of there being a man and woman to procreate, and that's the trend that procreation is the key for life.
Of course.
And then there's the anomalies. There's people who are born with two sex, or a penis and a vagina. There's men and women that believe that they are the opposite sex, or believe or are attracted to them. And that's a small minority. I believe that these are conditions that stray away from the trend. And some people get them. I don't know why it may be exposed, or whether it's genetic or passed down. But if you just study, it's like man and woman, female and male, female and male. Okay, then there's the minority. Same like there's always been, not trying to compare them to pedophiles or people are, you know, but I'm saying there's been trend.
The t-shirt.
I think that there's these minorities of people who may have these certain behaviors that, you know, stray away from the norm biologically. And this is an observation I made. So I don't believe it's normal. But I'm saying, look, you do what you want. I'm not going to sit there and block, but I don't think I agree with Matt that you should not be giving kids.
Yeah. It starts to get into an area where, like, all right, wait, if you're 18, you're good. Do whatever you want. If you want to chop your penis off, you want to inject yourself with estrogen as a man, and you want to put yourself in more harm for getting cancer and any type of chronic disease like heart disease, whatever, diabetes. It's all, the science is all there. You can read it.
Yeah.
That's good for you at the age of 18, but we're going to start introducing this to children. At that point, if a child can choose their sex, they should be able to vote. They should be able to drink alcohol. They should be able to drive a fucking car.
Let's send them to war too.
Exactly. You know, why can't we keep them accountable? If there's going to be no legal age, for you being able to change your sex, there should be no legal age for drinking, no legal age for driving a car, because at that point, society just becomes anarchy.
You're putting a lot of chemicals in your body.
Yeah, that's basically what I was trying to explain, is that those exogenous hormones just basically means hormones that are not natural to your body. So a male would be taking estrogen to block his testosterone production. A female would be taking testosterone to block their estrogen production and progesterone production. Those hormones in even a male taking testosterone, a hormone that his body knows at a young age, puts him at higher risk for heart disease. So why would a male taking estrogen, a hormone not known to his body very much, be at he would be at a greater risk, just logically speaking? There's science to back all this up. And it's crazy, because basically tying back into everything, we have these professionals that now are using this as a platform, because if you're a doctor and you talk about this and you put it on TikTok or Instagram, you know, me and you both know, that's what's going to be seen the most. Oh, this guy agrees with me. We're a group of transgenders or whatever. We agree with him. Let's repost. Now this guy's viral because he's talking about things that this is not true. These are false facts that now other doctors have to agree with, because if they don't, they have chances of losing their practice, getting hated on, and being, you know, reviewed poorly because of the cancel culture. That's another topic we can talk about another time. But unfortunately, and I hope that there is a great reset so that we can realize how much danger we are going down. But unfortunately, I don't see it happening for a little while. I see tolerance from people like myself and yourself having to be present for a little while before something like that happens. And
last thing on that note, I wouldn't mind speaking to somebody from that community, because I like to talk.
Oh, and me neither. I would love to.
But one thing I can say, an observation of studying kingdoms, is homosexuality and transgenderism. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but they don't build families biologically. That does not build a family. And guess what? Families build communities. Communities build nations, and nations build kingdoms. So I just wanted to make that point that, you know, if we're still trying to be a powerful nation and communities, then trying to put that on the front rower and push that to our kids, you know, I honestly don't think that, you know, it's not fulfilling. You know, I believe I was watching Joe Rogan, a clip on TikTok, and he was talking about, you see within the end of nations and kingdoms that homosexuality and transgenderism becomes popular. Like Rome, you know, that was heavily practiced, and at the end of the kingdom. Yeah, I saw a video. I actually sent it to you when I get a chance.
Yeah, I would love to. But it makes sense, because, like I said, I genuinely believe that people can be born homosexual, and I genuinely believe that people that are transgender do, in fact, believe in their mind that they might be a female or male. I'm not saying that that's not a thing. I'm not saying that they're making it up. Yeah. But what I do say is that societal factors and societal and environmental factors as well have a huge role on how we as individuals develop.
Yeah.
If I'm 6 years old and I'm raised in an area where we're taught that guns were terrible, I'm going to grow up the rest of my life believing guns are terrible. Whether the guns are terrible or not, it's not up to me. It's up to what's been influenced around me. Mm-hmm. If I grow up in an area where we shoot guns every weekend and someone talks to me about gun control, I'm going to say, hey, I don't want to. What are you talking about? I've grown up with guns. Are the most safest thing in the world. I've shot 1 million bullets and I've never hurt myself once. It's all about how you're raised.
Yeah.
And you made a really good point about how homosexuality and transgenderism prevents us as a society to grow and procreate. Mm-hmm. Now, like I said, I have no issues with whatever people want to do. None at all. I think that, you know, especially because I said this before, I'll say it again. I lean more conservative in terms of politics. I think it's a really, really bad move for conservatives to go against homosexuals and transgenders specifically homosexuals, because it's taking away from their
liberty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can agree to disagree, and that's
exactly,
it. And still be respectful.
Exactly, 100%. I think that's a great way to put it. I think that if you want to do whatever in your free time, as long as you're not influencing me or my children, that's up to you.
And pushing a mass agenda that will affect the school system where my children and grandchildren were.
Think about this. If we were to push normalizing pedophilia to society, it would be accepted just like homosexuality is being accepted. Think about
massive drug use.
Exactly. If we told everyone that it was normal to take heroin every weekend, people would do it. It's whatever you're told to do happens.
And what you normalize.
Exactly. And someone talked about this the other day too. It's a good point, because when does it stop? When do we stop? You know, is the next thing going to be, okay, we're going to change the age of consent from 18 to 13 now. 12, 10, no age of consent, as long as the person has it written, writing, you know what I mean? And then we start, you know, a society without any sort of structure or rules is anarchy. And that's a society that's going to fall. And that's what it looks like. It's coming that we're socially having no more restrictions, but economically we have the most restrictions that we're probably ever going to have coming in the future. You know, with the current president's plans for taxes and all this stuff on long-term capital gains and all, you know, economically we're more restricted than we ever have been.
Yeah.
You know, we're on a very, very close race with losing free market capitalism in the United States. We're not even capitalists anymore. I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
You know, we have a lot of social programs, which I might not disagree with all of them, but economically we're getting basically parented, but socially do whatever you want. You know, you want to do this, you want to be one day this, that, that's up to you. Which I don't have a problem with, but just don't push those things on us.
Yeah. And as far as what your friend said, as far as when does it stop, that's another thing. The nation has to find a balance and know when to be progressive and when to be conservative. And that's what that knowing and that strategic thinking decides whether your kingdom continues to go on or it falls.
Definitely. That's a great way to end the podcast. Ameer, it has been a pleasure having you, my brother. You want to plug up your socials before we close it out for tonight?
Well, you can follow me at Ameer Dangleben, AmeerDangleben on all social media platforms.
Definitely go check out his podcast. He's got a variety of guests. If you think we have a lot of guests on here, just check out his stuff. He's got people coming in every week from different aspects. He does a really good job of reviewing books as well. Yeah. That's another thing that I commend you on, Ameer. You're a great reader. We talked about some books today that I need to start reading. My bookshelf is not as extensive as his. He showed me a picture of, you have like a box of books, right?
Yeah, I got a lot of books.
He's got a lot of books. I unfortunately don't have as many. Hopefully one day I will. But it has been a pleasure having a conversation with him. 100% we're going to be doing a bunch more episodes hopefully here. Hopefully we can even shoot one of your podcasts over here one of these days.
Yeah, hopefully.
That'd be cool. And, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for checking out WBTM. And make sure to go check Ameer out. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment on all the stuff. This has been another Buff Talk. Unfortunately, we weren't able to have Levi here, our co-host, but it has been a pleasure, my brother.
Thank you, brother.
We'll get after it soon. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your night.
Hey guys, thank you guys for checking out this video. Make sure to go check out all of our other podcasts, Buffalo Barbecues, our Buffalo workouts, and also a slew of other things, including challenges and whatnot. So make sure to check out all of these different things. Thank you guys for watching. I am Old School Matt here, and this is Water Buffalo TM. Peace.